Hey, we are hanging out with Jasmin Barnett, and she is what is your title, please?
Director of Development and Communications for Force Detroit.
Okay, so Force Detroit, what is that?
Force Detroit is a community violence intervention nonprofit. We work with high-risk young people to make sure that they have holistic resources into the community to make sure they see themselves in the future. What that looks like is wraparound services. We start as much as mental health capacities, making sure that everybody has mental health, making sure that we are providing workforce, making sure that we have therapy, making sure that we help your family, making sure that we are getting you off the streets, right? Making sure that you're putting the guns down and realizing that you have a future in this world.
So what ages are we talking about?
So we are, our target group is like 14 to 24, but we really start with everybody in the home, from the youngest person in the home to the eldest in the home, because what you realize is when you go into a community and you try to fix the community, you can't just help one person in the household, you have to help everybody, right? So if there are cycles of violence in the household or cycles of active gun violence in the community, more than one person is not impacted by that. It's not just the shooter that's impacted by it, it's the person who was shot, the family of that person, the family of both parties. So making sure that we work with both parties and to the entire family to make sure that those resources can be attained.
So Force Detroit, how long has it been around?
This will be our 11th year this year.
Okay.
Last year we celebrated 10 years of making sure that we have a freer, safer Detroit. And what that means is making sure our young people understand that we understand that there are systemic things that create cycles of poverty, and that they also go into what happens with violence, right? If you're hungry, if you're cold, these are things that are unsafe that create other cycles of violence, because you have to figure out, how do I warm myself up, right?
Exactly.
How do I get food? How do I protect my family? Or,
and if you have that fear, right? And then it's like fight or flight almost, right?
Yep. And we talk about that all the time, because one of the things that we focus on is Maslow's hierarchy of needs and making sure that all of your needs are met, right? So we don't just talk about you having food. Before you have food, we need to make sure you have shelter, right?
Right.
We need to make sure that you feel comfortable in your skin. We need to make sure that you feel loved, right? We take for granted. We take for granted some of those small instances of someone giving you a hug or someone telling you how important you are to them and what that looks like, right? So when we talk about community violence intervention, yes, we're talking about actively putting the guns down, but we're also talking about interrupting systems that create poverty, right? That sustain poverty.
So let me ask you this. So when you say you go into like a home, because it does affect everyone in the family.
Yes.
Are the family members open to that, or is that another battle?
I think sometimes the young people are not as receptive, right, to someone telling them to change their lives, right? So I think what it is that we're consistent. We continually show up. We really do care about you, right? So we're gonna keep showing up, and we're not showing up because we're stalking you or we're trying to check a piece of paper off or a checklist. We're showing up because we really care about you. We want you to change your life. We want to make sure that your parents have sustainable wages, right, and not just sustainable living wages,
right?
So that you can enjoy life, right? A sustainable wage is paycheck to paycheck, right? To live and to enjoy, to make sure your kids can go to after school programs, to make sure that they're busy, to make sure that you have food on the table. So we want to make sure all those things are happening. And people are not always receptive to that change. Right. But one thing that they are receptive to is the consistency and the trust. Like, well, I know Force is going to show up for us. So we make sure that we show up.
And I love that name. I think it says it all, right?
Faithfully really empowering resources for our community. So that's really what we are about. We just want to make sure that our community has those resources, that they are empowered, and they are empowered to move forward in the future, right? We started off with making sure that the guns were being put down, as the violence was being stopped, and the education behind all of that is there. But also we want to make sure that you are able to continue to live in a freer, safer Detroit, and a freer, safer community, because it's not just about Detroit, it's all communities at large, right?
Right. What, so and we didn't talk about this before, me asking you this, so the whole teen takeover stuff, right? So what are your thoughts on that? What about Force Detroit's thoughts?
So one of the things about the teen takeovers that we have to realize is that a lot of times kids are just doing what they think they see adults doing, right? They think that's what we're doing. They think that that's freedom. They think they're running around. Because
and that they're making their own choice.
Yes, but what do people do on opening day, right? They go downtown.
They go downtown.
And they do they don't do what the kids are doing, right? Because they're not fights, but there are inebriated people who do end up in situations. So I think that a lot of it is, yes, the kids need something to do, because I think idle time, if you've ever heard elders say idle time is the devil's playground,
right?
I think making sure they have something to do, but also making sure they feel loved, right?
Yeah.
Because if you want to tear something up, that usually means there's something else going on, right?
Exactly.
If you want to fight, and that's a difference from us coming together and bringing community together. So I think that's what Force does. We come in and we intervene before the police have to show up, right? We want to know, why are you doing this, right?
Because come on, man, talk to me,
Before you decided to go start a fight, there was a reason and there was something. You might have been mad about something else. It could have not even been the person. You could have just been feeling something internally, and you're taking it out. So with the teen takeovers, I think that, yes, the kids need something to do, but I also think we need to make sure that kids feel empowered in themselves, and they say, I can't make this mistake today because that'll change my future.
Right.
I think a lot of it is that they don't really see themselves in the future. So making a mistake today doesn't really mean the same thing. Why does it matter?
Exactly.
Why I can go viral, I can get paid for this. So I think, one, that's where we have to make sure our kids make money, because a lot of this, the going viral, whether they get rich or not, that's what they think about. They think about money.
Yeah.
People,
and they think it's so glamorous.
Yes, they
right?
think, they're like, oh, we can get into a fight and we can embarrass ourselves and make money. When I was a kid, before social media was this big, I think I'm the first generation where we have both. It would be like, oh, don't post this because you want to get a job in the future. Don't do this because you'll be embarrassed. I think a lot of it now is there is no embarrassment, because embarrassment gets people paid, right? Embarrassment makes people
you go
rich.
viral.
It makes you go. It makes you go viral. So I think the conversation is bringing back that self-worth.
So does Force acknowledge, or do you guys talk about that with them?
Yes, we do.
Do you?
So we have like a digital violence interrupter who actually is on social media, making sure that our kids are not posting.
Really?
Yes. So we even think about it in every aspect, because again, this generation is very different with the internet. They live for the internet. They will embarrass themselves, and they'll say something on the internet that you're like, why would you ever say that? And they're doing it to go viral. They're doing it for clout, is what the kids say. And I think a lot of it is, again, making sure that our kids feel free, safe. And that's not just in your safety physically right now. Sometimes that's your mental safety. That's your, I see myself worthy enough to live for tomorrow. I see myself worthy enough to not make a mistake that'll change the trajectory of my life, right?
Yeah.
One moment can end you up in prison. One moment can take your life. So I think that's the conversation that we have to be honest about. It's not just, oh, these kids need something to do. They need to feel like something. You need to feel empowered. You need to understand that you deserve,
you have choices.
Yeah, and you deserve to live a beautiful life, right? Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
That is amazing. Now let's talk about my hair. Just kidding.
Your hair's great. Your hair's great. I think that's a good segue though, because sometimes even that makes people feel beautiful, and that makes people feel confident, right? So if my hair is good, I'm doing this. I don't have to say what you're staring at all day, right? Now I'm not creating a conflict for unnecessary reasons.
And even, I mean, all of it, right? We were talking about white teeth. We were talking about all this stuff, but it all plays into your confidence. And confidence makes a difference in how you feel and how you interact with other people.
And confidence is not just, oh, I look so fine today. Confidence is, I belong in every room I walk in. I deserve to be here. This place is beautiful. I think oftentimes when we think about the community, we're ignoring the fact that a lot of these young people are growing up in blight. They're growing up with abandoned houses on their block, or one house left, or two houses. They're growing up seeing things that are not that beautiful. So thinking about beautiful things may be difficult when you're consistently in that space. And that's, for us, for Force, that's no excuse. We want to meet you where you are. But we're going to bring you up, and we want to also not leave anybody that's with you left behind, right?
Right.
So your parents, because we won't just help your child, we're going to help the parents. Your parents need a job. We want to make sure that we're supporting you. We want to make sure that your parents are making money that is able to create a conversation that's not just, oh, I'm so tired because I have to work.
Right. 3 jobs.
Yep.
Right? I mean,
and deal with the kids, or I'm too tired to deal with the kids, or now the kids are running around because there's nobody who has enough patience to deal with them because they have to work. So I think that's why we want to do everything holistically. We want to work with all your needs, like, from the mental to your physical, to making sure there's food in your refrigerator, right?
Yep. No, that is, and everyone deserves a beautiful life.
Yeah.
Right?
As simple as that sounds, we know that that's a little bit more difficult. And I think one of the important things that we're doing when it talks about community violence is understanding that it's not just about Detroit. It's not just a black or brown thing. It is, safety is for us all, right? When we talk about going together, when we talk about being here, everything is about safety. I want to feel safe no matter where I am. And it first starts with small people. It starts with the young people. If they don't feel safe, then they sometimes create a lot of havoc to make sure you care about them.
Right.
And you could have just cared about them from the beginning. So I think for Forrest, what we've realized is we're just going to care from the beginning, right?
You're like, we're just getting it done, man.
Yeah,
That's
we're
all
just going to do the work, right?
It
makes more sense to do the work than it is to complain about it.
And to then have to backtrack and do more work to make up for what you lacked at the beginning.
It's expensive to ignore young people, right? Because it's
very
expensive when you don't think about how they deserve to be in the future and how they deserve to see themselves. But the reality is, if you think about yourself in the future, you think about yourself being a grandparent, you may make smarter decisions because you're thinking about living. But if you don't see yourself ever becoming a grandparent or ever doing certain things, you're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So what we want, we want to make sure you care. We care about you so much that you have to care about yourself. You have to care about your neighbor. You have to care about your brother or your sister.
And the consistency is key.
Yes.
That is amazing. Thank you so much, Jasmin.
No, thank you.
How do people find out more about Force Detroit?
All right, so you can go to our website, www.forcedetroit.org, or you can contact me, Jasmin, just Jasmin at forcedetroit.org, and I can get you all the information you need.
Okay. Yeah. No, I just think it's such an amazing organization, and in as many years as I've been involved in the media, I had never heard of Force Detroit.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy I get to tell you about it.
Yeah.
And also my approach is, sometimes I talk about it in a way that's a little bit different, right? Yes, there's the violence and it's expensive. It's up to over $1.3 million every time we send someone to prison or there's a fatal shooting. And when you think about things like that, the cost of it, when we put dollars on things, people start to think about how important it is.
Right.
And I think that's what we want to do. We want to make sure you understand this is important, not just to your community, but to our taxpayers, right? It's expensive to do that, but it's cheaper to send a kid to college.
Right.
So let's start doing that, right?
That should be a bumper sticker. I love it. Seriously, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
What an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.